Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini Jayu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Te Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमस्कार दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा एवरीवन। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। So today chapter, so welcome everyone to understand Gita in 18 days. So today chapter 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga, attaining the Supreme. So anybody knows what is this chapter related to? What do you mean by attaining the Supreme? Any idea?
Attaining the love of God and going back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, good, nice. So basically in this chapter, Krishna is going to tell like how one has to prepare oneself, right? Before leaving the body. So how should, like it, you can either call it as an art of dying, right? So how one should prepare oneself at the at the time of death. So there are 8 questions which Arjuna asks and Krishna answers in this chapter. So let's go to the chapter. So let's pay our obeisances to Sri Radha Govinda, ISKCON Mangalore deities, and to Srila Prabhupada. So based on whose teachings we are conducting this course. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Overview of the chapter. So answer to Arjuna's question. So there are 8 questions which Arjuna asked. And then remembering Krishna at the time of death. Then remembering Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Remembering Krishna by pure Bhakti. Material world versus spiritual world. Supremacy of pure Bhakti in attaining Krishna. Arjuna Uvacha. Kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam kim karma purushottama adhibhutam cha kim proktam adhidaivam kim uchyate. Arjuna inquired. Okay, somebody can read. Yeah, Karnika.
Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Adhiyagnam katam kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katam jneyosi niyatatmabihi.
How does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body, and in which part does he live, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Yeah. So these are the questions. Like one, when we ask a spiritual master, the question has to be really a good question. Like in even in Bhagavatam, where Parikshit Maharaj was having only 7 days to die, and then he asked Shukadev Goswami, like, what is the duty of a man, like in his lifetime, what should he hear, what should he chant, and whom he should worship, and what are the things to be done and what not to be done. And then Shukadev Goswami, he praises him that what a question. So even when we ask our spiritual master, right, so that question has to be really very relevant, and it is should be like it should uplift us. So something like that we should ask. So Arjuna's question also here something like that. So he's asking so many things. So what is Brahman, what is self, what are fruitive activities, and what is this material manifestation, what are demigods, and how does this Lord of Sacrifice live in body? And so these are the 8 questions. So we will see that in a table. So basically in the previous chapter, these two verses which gave rise to those questions. So Krishna mentions here, Brahma, Adhyatma, Adidaivam, Sadidaivam, and Prayana Kale, like that. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashritya Yatanti te Brahma Tadviduksh Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam Sadibhutam Sadibhutam Adidaivam Mam Sadiyagnam Cha Ye Viduhu Prayana Kale Picha Mam Te Viduryukta Chetasaha. So these are the 8 questions. So Brahman. So what is Brahman? That is Jiva, or indestructible living entity. So what does it mean? The soul. Okay. The soul is indestructible. So we have learnt in the chapter 2 about the qualities of the soul, which Krishna describes. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha Ajo nityam shashvatoyam puranaha ajo nityam. So it is unborn and ever existing. Shashvatam puranaha means it is very old. So, and also where we understand that the soul cannot be cut by weapons. It cannot be burned by, the fire cannot burn it, the air cannot dry it, and the water cannot make it it cannot be evaporated. So this jiva, the soul, is the indestructible living entity. So that is called as Brahman here. Actually, Brahman, many places it is used in different thing. Like even for God realization, we call Krishna's initial realization as Brahman, Paramatma, and the stages. In first stage will be Brahman, second stage is Paramatma, and third is Bhagwan. But here, basically, it is Krishna is referring to the spirit, which is the jiva. And what is Adhyatma, the controller of the body? That is called as nature of the jiva. Nature of the jiva is what? To serve the soul, like the servant of the super soul. That is Jivere Swarupohe Krishnere Nitya Das. So that is the actual position of us. Actually, we are servant of the Supreme Lord. But currently, we have forgotten that. And we are thinking that we are the enjoyers. So next comes the karma, or work or fruitive activities. So what is karma? So it is defined as action leading to material body. So based on the activity we do, accordingly, the material nature will give us the next body. So in our whatever, if we do good karma, I may get a spiritual body and I can go to heaven. And if I do the bad karma, I can go to the hellish planets, or I can get birth in a lower species. So this karma, based on the work we do or the fruitive activities, that leads to material body. So Adi Bhuta, or material manifestation, that is a material nature. So material nature, at a certain time it gets created, and at a certain time it gets annihilated. So it is said that every day of Brahma, morning he does the creation and night he annihilates, right? So it keeps happening. So the creation it happens and then it get annihilates. Then comes the Adi Daiva. Adi Daiva is supreme. It includes all the demigods or devatas, including the universal form. So universal form and also their planets. So this is called as Adi Daiva. Adi Yagna. Adi Yagna is the enjoyer of sacrifice. So who is the Yagna? Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram in chapter 5, Shloka 29, right? So Krishna is the enjoyer of all the sacrifice. So how does he reside? He resides is a plenary portion, Paramatma. Actually, Bhagwan is the highest, but in a four-handed form, right? In our heart, Krishna stays as Paramatma. Anybody knows the shloka where Krishna says, I live in the heart of the living entity? Anyone knows the shloka? No one? Okay. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smriti gnanamapohanam cha. So, and then also he says in Ishvara sarva bhutanam ruddeshu arjuna tishtati. So Krishna, so Paramatma, Adi Yagna is Paramatma. So Arjuna asks, where does Adi Yagna reside? So he lives in the heart of all the living entity. How to remember Krishna at the time of death? So it is not possible to remember at the time of death if we don't practice it all our life. So Krishna says, practice remembrance throughout the life. And also Krishna says, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Even while fighting, Krishna tells Arjuna, remember me, always remember me and you fight. So similarly, we also have to make it a habit. How do we do that? When we chant, right? So that is the reason the Acharya has given us so many regulative principles, and I mean to do the sadhana. I mean we have been told like we have to attend the Mangalarti in the morning 4:30 and that get up and do the japa 16 rounds, right? And also to take prasad. So whatever you prepare, offer to God with tulsi, put a tulsi and then offer to God and then take as prasad. So in this way, we can always remember the Lord. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha. Okay, before going, anyone has any doubts here, or can we move forward? Is it clear? This chart is clear. It's all bit technical thing. You can again go through. You may have to go through again. Okay. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha. Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavotyatamu Dhyatmamuchyate Bhuta Bhavodbhavakaro Visarga Karma Samnitaha. History.
The Supreme Lord said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called the Self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma, or fruitive activities.
Yeah. So basically, the soul keeps on transmigrating, right? We take one body after the other. So based on our karma, we get the different bodies. So it is like there are 84 lakh species, and based on my suiting my desire, whatever I desire, based on that, like Krishna is there as Paramatma in our heart. So he understands our desire and he informs the material nature to give a suitable body to this soul, right? So because it is desiring like that, I get such a body. It is just like the tailor is stitching, right? Whatever based on our needs. Similarly, material nature provides us such body. So if we are in Sattva Guna and we are having nice, good desires, right? And we worship the Lord, then what happens? I can go to the heaven. And then if I am in tamasic and the person is in a tamasic mode and he don't have any discrimination, eats anything and everything, then he will be given, like Paramatma, he's seeing everything. So he's wasting a human life. So such person will be given a doggy of a hog, right? Or pig. So, and then if somebody is indulging in illicit sex, so there again, so Krishna understand that this person is not valuing the human value of life. So such person, what Krishna does, so he may be given a dog life, because for dogs there is no restriction, they can do anything and nobody restricts them, right? So such things happens because Krishna is mentioning here action pertaining to development of these material bodies is called karma. So based on our karma or whatever activity we do, we get our next bodies. So this is from Padma Purana, which explains about the 84 lakh species, right? Jalajanava lakshani sthavara laksha vimshati kremayo rudra sankyaha pakshinam dasha lakshanam trimshal lakshani pashavaha chatul lakshani manusha. So already everything is designed. It is not like everything Krishna has already designed it. We can see here Jalaja Navalakshani, that is 9 lakh species are there which live in water. Stavara Laksha Vimshati. Stavara means the mountains, the non-moving. Non-moving means here the mountains. So mountains and trees, these things. Laksha Vimshati is 20 lakh. Krimayo Rudra Sankyaha. Krimayo means the insects, right? They are 11 lakhs. And then Pakshinam Dasha Lakshanam. The birds are around 10 lakh species. It is species, not just numbers. They are species. And Trimshal Lakshani Pashavaha. The four-legged animals are 30 lakh species. And then Chatur Lakshani Manushaha. There are 4 lakh species of human beings. So this is how the 84 lakh species have been designed by the Lord based on the desires of the entities. Adhibhutam sharo bhavaha purushaschaदिदैवतम् adiyagno aham evatra dehe dehabhritam vara.
The physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as the Super Soul, dwelling in the heart of every embodied being.
Yeah. So basically, Adhibhuta is a material nature, and also this body, our body is made of all material elements, right? The earth, water, fire, ether, air. So this material body also keeps changing. We are not the same as we were small, right? When we were kids or when we are, so it keeps on changing. So there are 6 stages which the body goes through. So once it is in, first it is in the mother's womb, and then it grows, and then it has some effects, and it becomes old, and finally we die, right? It gives effects in the sense the baby also, which when it grows and he becomes a man, and then he has his own, from his body again he has his own family and his children, like that. So these are, and then finally we die, right? So these are the stages happens to the material body. And then what is Adidaiva, which as I said, they are the demigods and their planets, which includes the universal form. And Purush Adidaiva, Adi Yagna is the Supreme Lord. And then yeah, and also this Adi Daiva, which includes the universal form, it is actually for the neophyte devotee, not for a Arjuna. Actually, in 11th chapter, Krishna shows the universal form. We can see that. So basically, this universal form is compared to, like, his legs are compared to the lower planets, and his eyes are compared to sun and moon, and the heart is compared to the upper planets. So, but this is not important. Prabhupada never had given much lecture on the chapter 11, basically. Usually he has many lectures, but because that is not the highest. Universal form is a temporary form, which is shown only in the material world. So what should we do at the time of death? So any answer? What should we do?
We must try to think about Lord Krishna.
Yeah. So what is the reason? Why should we think?
Because we can go back home if we think like we can attain the Supreme.
Yeah, good. Okay, we'll see here now. So Krishna is telling, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaf prayati samadbhavam yati nasti tra samshayaha.
And whoever, at the time of death, quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Yeah, so this is the reason. So Krishna is saying at the time of death, if anybody remembers Krishna, then they can go to his abode, right? So it's called as Goloka, that is the highest one. Today we will see the Goloka chart. And here we can see in the picture Bhishma Dev, right? Bhishma Dev had a boon from his father, that Icha Maran, like whenever he wished, he can die. So he had that wish and he died in front of the Lord, right? So he used to give pleasure to the Lord, like during the Mahabharata war in the Shaurya Rasa, right? Shaurya Rasa. So when he was leaving his body, Krishna was there in front of him, and also all the devatas. We can see Narada Muni and Vyasadeva, and all the devatas also had come. So in that way, he shown us like how one has to leave the body. Right? This nobody discussed, and nowhere in our any other literature or material literature we never get to see this, that how a person has to leave a body. So this we can only understand from this Bhagavad Gita. So only when we leave the body, remembering the Lord, so Krishna says it is sure to attain. But this is not so easy. We have to, for that constant practice is required, right? So what was the answer to you? Okay. Okay, I'll just go directly. Ahani ahani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam sheshastavaram ichanti kim ascharyam ataparam. So this was a question asked by Yaksha to Yudhishthira. So when they were in incognito, right? The last year of their Vanavas. So on the 13th year. So there once what happens? They were all very thirsty. The Pandavas. They were walking through the forest and they were very thirsty. And Yudhishthira first sends Arjuna, not Arjuna, Bhishma, to go and fetch some water, because then he goes, he sees a river and he tries to take it, and then he hears a warning that you cannot take until you answer me. If you drink the water, you will die. He doesn't care. He thinks that who is this person to tell me, and then he drinks and he dies. So and then Arjuna comes and he also does the same thing. He doesn't listen. Everybody were very thirsty. They were not ready to listen. Same thing happens to Nakula Sahadev. And then Yudhishthira wondering like what happened, everybody when no one has come. So then he goes himself. So Yaksha is actually, he's Yamraj, who is father of Dharmaraya, that is Yudhishthira. So he was actually testing them. And then there is a couple of questions which comes in, very beautiful questions, a conversation between the Yaksha and Dharmaraya. So this is one of the question where he asked hundreds and thousands of, so what is the most wonderful thing that you have seen in this world? That was a question by Yaksha. And the answer from Yudhishthira is, yeah, can you read?
Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being, nonetheless, thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world.
Yeah. So every day we see, right? Every day we see, and in newspaper, in news, everywhere we hear so many people dying. I mean, there is no age for death. We cannot, but still we have a hope, right? When we sleep, we have so many plans for so many years to come, and we without knowing that there is no guarantee for how many years or will I be alive tomorrow morning. We don't know, but still we have so many plans. So this was his answer, that hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death every moment, but foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless. Though we see in front of us so many people dying, we never think that I am also going to die, and we never have a plan for it. So that is the most wonderful thing. Like So after that, after answering all the questions, he's pleased, and then he asked him, what you want. Then he asked, like, you have to give life to all my brothers. So that's how they all also get the life. That's a different story. So here what we can understand, everybody thinks that they are eternal living beings. Always, I mean, we are never going to die. And even Hiranyakashipu, he wanted to become eternal, right? So he praised Brahma that I want to become eternal. I don't want to die. Then Brahma says, how can I give you that when I myself am not eternal? Because even Brahma, we saw the life of Brahma, 311 trillion years he lives. Yeah, that he has passed 155 trillion years right now, right? So such Brahma also, such a great Brahma, he's a second creator who has created this world, and all the living beings have come from Brahma. So even he is not eternal. So Hiranyakashipu also, he says that I can't give that. So everybody wants to become eternal. So what Prabhupada says, even an ant also, it is born and dies next day, right? And every planet is crowded. It is not just this planet. Every planet is crowded with living entities. And Prabhupada says that what is the use of living like 500 years, 1,000 years, even the trees live, right? But there is no value for it. So there is no, everybody celebrate that 90 years, 95 years or 100 years somebody does. So what is a big thing in that? What have you achieved, or what have you taken? What is the value that you have done in life, right? It is not like, if we have not connected with God, then there is no meaning for such long life. So it is just like living like a trees. That's what Prabhupada says here in this connection. So what will be the result of remembering anything else than Krishna? So what will happen if we remember anything else? If my consciousness, like, yeah, okay, you can answer then. Anybody wants to answer? What will happen if we, yeah.
Like based on our desires, based on what we think, and based on our desires, we may get another birth.
Yes.
Like,
yes, very nice. So Prabhupada also says, like, if somebody is very much attached, like if a shop owner is very much attached to his shop, so then he can, if he is not, if he's, when he's dying and his thoughts are always in the shop, then what happens? If his karma is not so good, he can, if he don't get a human body, then he can be also become a cockroach in that shop itself, right? So that is the so dangerous thing. So we can understand from a instance from Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a real story. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajanti kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha.
whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail.
Yeah. This is a story of a king who falls down from a mountain top, right? From a cliff. And then he was remembering a deer, and then he gets the next life, he becomes a deer. Okay. So anybody knows what is the name of this personality? Uh, I think Parnika knows. Anybody else knows? Anyone? Others? Do you know who is this?
No idea, Mataji.
Okay, even you don't know. I thought you were knowing. Okay. This is Bharat Maharaj. Okay, Bharat Maharaj. Uh, Actually, India, right? Our country has got the name Bharat because of him. After him, it has been named as Bharat after this. After him, so he was a great king, and uh, yeah, so he was a great king, and he's a son of Rishabhadev. So Rishabhadev was a incarnation of Lord Krishna himself. He was a Kshatriya king, and many of his sons have become yogis, right? And so he is one of them. So Bharat Maharaj. So very small age. Small age in the sense he was very young. So and he was married, and he had very small children. He had very nice kingdom, and all the people loved him. So but then what happens? He leaves everything. He wanted to meditate on Lord, and he takes sannyas, and he comes to forest. And once what happens, he sees a deer. It was running up, the mother deer, and she was pregnant. And she was running because a tiger was chasing her. And he sees that she dies, giving a birth to a small baby deer. So he protects the baby deer and he brings out of compassion, right? So the sadhu is a sadhu, and he was in almost bhava stage. So basically, so then he got attached to the deer. So basically, the bhava stage means we have totally 9 stages in the bhakti. So what are they? First is Shraddha. Shraddha means initial faith, right? Now we all have faith and you have come to the Bhagavad Gita class. So that is the Shraddha. Then the next stage is Sadhu Sangha, that is association with the devotees. Then Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya means there are two, Prabhupada mentions two things. One is Bhajana Kriya is like the studying the scriptures or studying the books together with the devotees and doing the kirtans, bhajan, this one. The other Bhajana Kriya means the initiation. That also, once a person gets initiation, that is also called as Bhajana Kriya. And next comes the Anartha Nivritti. So when we are chanting and our heart gets purified, so after some time what happens? Unwanted wants, whatever we have, unwanted desires, that all go away, right? So those things Krishna will take it out. All unwanted material desires go away from our heart. Not only that, there are many anarthas, kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya, and these things. So that also go away from us. So anartha nivritti. So after anartha nivritti, we come to when you come nishtha, right? You become like nishtha means like you decide to something, you will follow that. So my spiritual master has told this regulative principle I have to follow, I will stick to it, I'll not break that. Or I have decided to do 16 round chanting, or how much ever. If you decide like 4 rounds I'll do every day, you will not break that. So that nishtha, that obedience rates that, right? So that is nishtha. So after nishtha, you get ruchi, you start getting a taste in that, right? After that, attachment is asakti, you develop interest in the devotional services. And then from asakti it is bhava, then comes prema. So bhava means almost love with God, love, and then prema means it's highest. So love of God, you get the love of God in that stage. So Bharat Maharaj was in bhava stage, but then he got attached to this baby deer so much that while doing sacrifice also, every time he was concerned, if it is not come on time, he was concerned, where is this deer gone? So he was always meditating on that. So he was scared. One day the deer didn't come. So he was very upset. So he goes in search of it, and from the mountain top, he falls down. He slips, and his thoughts were only of the deer. And thinking of the deer, he dies. So he gets the next body as deer. So as Krishna says in chapter 2, that whatever we do in Krishna consciousness is not going to get based. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Like even little bit whatever we have done in devotional service does not go waste. So Krishna gives him the remembrance to Bharat Maharaj, whatever happened in his previous life, that you were a very great king and you took sannyas, and because of your attachment to deer, you got this body. So now he is very careful. So what he does, even in the body of deer, he remembers everything. He does austerities by having only dry leaves, and he used to go to the near the temple, and leftover prasad he used to have. That's how he did austerity, and he leaves the body, and next body is he gets the Jada Bharat means as a human being again. So Jada Bharat was he was at he again Krishna gave him the remembrance of the previous 2 lives, and this time he was very careful. He thought that I will better not indulge much with anyone or any materialistic people or with anyone. I will always meditate on Lord. So what he did, he behaved like a deaf and dumb. He was not talking or responding to anyone. So, and also he was dressing like a beggar, like his dresses looked like he didn't have anything, and even his brothers, nobody respected him in home or in the village. So he was like, they considered that this fellow is useless. Actually, he was in a Paramahamsa stage, means highest. He was so realized person, but he was not showing that. So once what happens, one king, Rajoguna, the king, they were palanquin, on the palanquin they were bringing the king, and suddenly there was a shortage for lifting the palanquin, right? To take the king, and they call him. So they see this Jadabarata who was lying, because he had a very huge developed body. So they thought like, okay, this person can help, and they call him, they shout and they call him, oh Jadabarat, please come and help us. So then he comes there. Then he comes and he lifts that palanquin. While walking, what happens many times, he sees, whenever he sees some ant going, he just moves, because he sees the soul. He is in a Paramahamsa stage, like we saw in chapter 5, right? The shloka says, Pitya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. The Pandita is seeing everyone on a platform of soul, a dog eater, an elephant, and a Brahmana. So similarly, this person, Jadabarat, is seeing the ant on a platform of soul. So what he does, he is moving. So then king gets angry, because that got shaking, and as though he felt like king may fall. So he shouts at Jadabarat, what are you doing? And then Jadabarat starts speaking. That first time in his life, he speaks. And then it is recorded in Bhagavatam. There are series of questions, and where he says that that king is lost himself in the opulence, material opulence, and then he starts advising, and finally the king becomes his disciple. So this is recorded in Bhagavatam. So that's how. So what we can understand from this, so this example is that whatever we meditate upon, that life we get in our next life. So we have to be very careful. Yeah, please read. Hare Krishna. Yes, others also can read. Yeah. Abhi or anyone. Yes. Yeah. Panika, go ahead. Seems like nobody wants to unmute. Yeah.
Therefore, O Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Yeah. So Krishna is, we can see here, Krishna is never asking like leave your work and do it, right? We all have our own duties. We have certain things we have to do we have our own responsibilities. So everything we have to do, but then do thinking of me. So Krishna is telling, do your duty, but think of me. Activities dedicated to me. So do for Krishna, and your mind and intelligence fixed on me. So try to work for Krishna, or dedicate whatever we have, the mind intelligence, or whatever we have, what we can do for Krishna. In that way, we can dedicate. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina param purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayan. Yeah. Yes, Archana.
He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me.
Yeah. So this means that we need to practice this regularly. So how do we practice? Currently, we have to do the chanting, right? So if we take this, the pure devotees of the Lord, they don't need to do chanting, because for them automatically the remembrance comes. Always they are thinking, the Gopa boys and the Gopikas and all, they are always thinking of the Lord, and the pure devotees, always they are meditating. For them it is not difficult, but for us, it is not easy to remember Krishna, right? We forget. So that is why we have to, this chanting and these things are given like 16 rounds. So what happens? At least it becomes it registers in our mind, and unknowingly also during the day, many times it comes to us automatically, taking the Lord's name, because Lord name and Lord is not different. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. So God has given kept all his potencies and the strength in his name. So we need to start chanting, right? Practice chanting. If any of you have not started, please start chanting. So this is a story of Ajamila. So this story Prabhupada has written a book. You can also get in Veda base in online. It's called a second chance. So where this is very rare actually. This is not possible for us. So this is a story from Bhagavatam, which is a true story recorded. So where the person all his life he does so much of sinful activities, and but finally he was able to attain God. So that is the story. So how so Krishna gives him the remembrance. So what happens? Ajamila, he was born in a Brahmin family, and he was a very pious family. His parents were, his father was a priest, and his father sends him to forest to get some flowers. So he goes to forest, and then there he hears talks of women and a man, and then he gets attracted, and what he does, he wanted to hear more, and he comes near and he sees, and then he sees that that person is embracing a woman. So actually he was a shudra, that person, he was a drunkard, and she was a prostitute. And then but she was very beautiful. By seeing her he feels that, okay, if this drunkard can get her, why can't I have? But already he had a beautiful wife, chaste women, house wife at home, and has a children. But what he does, he got attracted towards her, and then he plans, like he brings initially her as a maid to his house. But over the time, in some days they come to know that there is something going on between them, and then when they understood, they say that you have to leave her. Then he says, no, I cannot leave her, I love her, I want to marry her. If you don't want, you can leave. So his parents leave him, his wife also leave him, and then finally he marries that prostitute and he starts living with her. And and but for living he didn't have any money. When he, because he was a Brahmin, he had to beg and eat, right? What is a work of a Brahmin? Patan Patan Yajan Yajan Dana Parigraha. That is Patan Patan. You have to teach and learn the Vedas, and you have to recite. You learn yourself and also teach others. Yajan Yajan means do the sacrifice and teach sacrifice. And then Dana Parigraha means taking charity, and whatever extra is there, give it off in charity. So when he went for charity and asking for for food, everybody started scolding, spitting him out, like saying, what kind of a Brahman you are? You have done, you're so sinful, and you have left such a chaste wife. So who will give you? Like everybody scolded him. So he was not getting any money. So then he started doing all sinful activities. He started stealing. He did robbery, and then he had also involved in he also did murder. So he did all that sinful act. And but finally, and he had 10 children from that prostitute. So finally, at an old age, when he was 80 years, he got a son. And Krishna is so merciful, because he was involved in, he was a devotee of the Lord, right? Swalpam apyasya dharmasya, trayate mahato bhayat. So he, Krishna gave him the remembrance to keep the son's name as Narayana. So he keep the small son name as Narayana, and every time he keeps calling the son, Narayana, where are you? Narayana, come have food. Like Narayana, Narayana, he keeps on calling. So somehow that purification came to him. And one, he was dying, like he became very old, right? He was on the deathbed. And then what happens? The Yamadutas come, because he had done so much sinful act. The Yamadutas come to take him. And the same time, because he was calling Narayana, the Vishnu Dutas came, because thinking he called Narayana name, and Vishnu Dutas came there. And they stopped him. And there was an argument between the Yamadutas and Vishnu Dutas, that whom does he belong, right? The soul. And then because it is said, once if you take Narayana name, you are not, the Yamadutas cannot take. And then they go and ask Yamaraj. Yamaraj say that, okay, I cannot do anything. If Vishnu is the highest, right? Highest authority. So if Vishnu has come, then we can't do anything, just leave him. So they leave him. And then Vishnu Dutas, they don't take him because he is not purified. They leave him there. So then he understands all his mistakes. So immediately what he does, he leaves home. So he leaves home, he goes to Haridwar and he meditates on the Lord. So after some time, after a year or so, so then again, then he gives up his body. Then Vishnu Dutas come and they take him in the Garuda, his Vahana, right? Vishnu's Garuda Vahana. So this is how, but this is what we can understand. This is a second chance given to Ajamila, but we are all not so fortunate to get a second chance like Ajamila. So we have to practice. We cannot think like, okay, I can also do all whatever I want all my life. Just at the time of death, I will think of Lord and I'll go to Krishna. No, Krishna is not a fool, right? He knows we cannot cheat Krishna. So we have to be very careful what we think. So in what way one should remember the Lord? So Arjuna says here, Arjuna's prayer, Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaraidyaha Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parastat. Please read.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as He who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is a luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond the material nature.
Yeah. So how we have to meditate on the Supreme Lord. So Supreme Lord is a person. So Krishna is talking Purusham. Purusham means person. So he is not a light. So it is very clear here. Arjuna is confirming here that Krishna has a form. That is Shama Sundar form. Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitambuda Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayatashram. So he's playing a flute and Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayatashram, like a lotus flower. His eyes are compared to lotus flower. Barhava Tamsam means he's having a feather on his he's wearing a feather, and then when Barhava Tamsam Asitambuda Sundarangam. So his body is a cloud color, right? Blue, light blue, like a dark blue, the cloud color. So this is explained by Brahma in Brahma Samhita. So here also Arjuna is confirming that he is a person. So Prabhupada says that when there is so if we say that there is a Shakti, right? Behind Shakti, there is a Shaktiman. So behind energy, there is a energetic. Just like we get energy to house, like we get power to our house. When I switch on, immediately the light comes. But how is it coming? There is somebody sitting in the BISCOM or the electric this office, right? Here in Bangalore we have BISCOM. So he sits there, and this person is controlling there. That engineer has to supply. If sometimes we don't get lines, right? There is no power. So there is some problem in the line. So similarly, Krishna is there. Only because of him, everything is happening on time. So if there is no controller, how everything can happen on time, right? So he is the controller, and he is the smaller than the smallest. So Krishna is said, Andantarastam Paramanu Chayantarastam, means he's there in the small atom, and also he's there as a Krishna in Goloka. So how is this possible? This is called inconceivable potency of the Lord. So who is a maintainer of everything? So Krishna maintains everything. So all the living entities, 84 lakh species, everybody gets food, right? If nobody starves, everybody, Krishna has made arrangement for all of them. So he's the maintainer of everyone. So he's inconceivable. So Krishna, we cannot conceive, like how his organs also can perform a function of others, or how is this how he does this leela, how is he there in as atom, or how is he able to control such a big universe. And also he's at the same time he's there in Goloka, he's in here. And also when we know, like in Parikshit Maharaj, when he was in womb of his mother. Ashwatthama leaves the arrow to, the Brahmastra to kill him. So then Krishna goes inside the stomach and he protects. And the same time he was standing outside. So this is called as inconceivable. That is, we cannot understand our mental speculation or material sense. We cannot understand. This is called Achintya Veda Abheda Tattva, which is found by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is simultaneously one and different. So that is totally inconceivable. So he's always a person. He's luminous like sun and being transcendental and is beyond this material nature. So this three mode of nature which we are coming under control, that is not for Krishna. He is above this material nature. He is transcendental. Ananyacheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabhav partha nityayukta yoginaha. Yeah, please read.
For one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Prith, because of his constant engagement of the devotional service.
Yeah. So how to attain Krishna? Only with devotion. Without deviation, constantly. Right? When we remember the Lord, always, there should not be any gap in our devotional service to the Lord. So then, without deviation, when somebody remembers, it is easy to attain Krishna's kingdom. So what is the difference between material world and spiritual world? Okay, we'll go there. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayama shashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. Yeah.
After attending me, the great soul, who are yogis in the devotion, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Yeah. So once we go to Krishna's world, that is spiritual world, we will not come back again. Actually, when we go to spiritual world, we will get a spiritual body, right? The soul, when it comes to material world, it is said that the soul becomes shrink. And what is the size of soul? Anyone remembers what is the size of soul?
Thinner than our hair.
Yeah. How thin? Can you tell how thin? What is the size? Thin than
10 times thinner than our hair.
It's not 10 times. 10,000. Okay. It's not 10, 10,000. Like the tip of the hair. The tip of the hair, if we make 10,000 one part, okay, is the soul. So such a small. So it got shrink. But then it has a spiritual form, which it will gain when it goes to the spiritual world. Right? So here what Krishna is saying, this is a temporary world. So which one we are living? Krishna is telling here, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries. So this world Krishna is calling as Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. Dukkhalayam means full of miseries. So we think we may have plan like, okay, I will make this, I can be happy. But we see that whatever plan we make, something else can happen. So Prabhupada says that it is just like a forest fire. Forest fire, without notice, it catches, right? We cannot we cannot know how it comes. Just like that, the problems in this material world, without anybody expecting, nobody wish for any problem, but it comes like that. So that is why Krishna is calling this world as temporary world, and which is full of misery. And because he is the creator, we have to accept it, whatever he is telling. So because if a manufacturer knows what his product is, what are the defect, what are the advantage or whatever disadvantage of that product. Similarly, Krishna has created this world and he is telling that this is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, and why we are seeing like why we have to think that no, I will make it perfect, this world. It is not possible because it is designed in that way. Why Krishna is designed? Because he don't want us to get settled here, because we don't belong to here. I belong to, because I'm a part and parcel of the Krishna, of the Lord. So I have to go back because he is our father. He wants all of us there. So that is why Krishna has made this world like that, so that we understand. And finally, when we surrender with love to Lord, so then he gives Krishna, when he's pleased with us, when we are sincere, he gives that out of mercy, he gives that intelligence to worship him with all intelligence, right? And then, so when the person has attained, then we can go back to the Lord. So there are 4 problems that we have, the main primary problems that we whoever takes birth has, like Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi. That is birth, death, old age and disease. Apart from that, we have secondary problems. That is 3 secondary problems, which is Adhyatma, Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Daivika Klesha and Adi Bhautika Klesha. So Adi Bhautika Klesha Adhyatmika Klesha means the problems that is coming from my own body and mind, right? So many a times we have, like I may get ill, I get some disease. So that is called from my body. And then from my mind also gives me so much, I lose my peace of mind and it disturbs me, right? So that is from body and mind, my own body and mind. That is called Adhyatmika Klesha. Second one is Adi Bhautika Klesha, where I get problems from other living entities. It can be people, or it can be animals, or it can be virus, the coronavirus that we have. That is all comes under Adi Bhautika Klesha. And Adi Daivika Klesha. Adi Daivika Klesha means it is coming from the devatas or the demigods when they are not happy with us. So when we are exploiting nature, right? So then this flood happens, right? These things, tsunami or whatever, all these things. So famine or volcano eruption, and these things are all called as Adi Daivika Klesha, which are coming from the demigods. So usually Prabhupada says that actually our concentration should be on the main problems, which is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, old age, disease, and what is it? Birth, old age, disease, death. Yeah, these 4 things, because we have to see how I can come out of these 4 problems, because no scientist can make that you stop us from becoming old. Nobody can stop from getting diseases, right? So such a small virus, the coronavirus, so much time we took for making one vaccine, right? By the time so many people died. So it is not easy. So so these 4 things, primary thing we have to come out. But actually we are concentrating, currently our society is concentrating on the secondary problems. That is how to keep my mind, the Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika and Adhyatmika Klesha, right? So we should not worry much on that. We have to concentrate on how to come out of this birth and death cycle. So meditate upon Lord. Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartinorjuna Mamupetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Please read.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of mystery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Yeah. So it is like wherever planet we go, any planet from high planet to lowest, that is out of 14 planets, wherever we go, we have to take birth again. There is no escape. So even Brahma Loka, if we go, we have to come back. So that is what it is said here, from Brahma Loka, Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So even if you go to Brahma planet, you have to take birth again. But if we go to Krishna's planet, the spiritual world, we will not take birth again. So because even if you go to heaven, there is a problem, because demons always trouble the devatas. So always there are war there. And also in earth also we have problem, right? So the other countries, so anybody can attack us anytime. So there is a fear always in earth also. And the hell is just a pain, because it is said that there are 28 hells in 28 different hells based on the different karmas. The person will get the similar body to suffer such pain, and right. So all these are there. So it is like if we may what we may I mean we may if we may endeavor more to earn more and live happily ever after here in this material world, but that's of no use. What am I doing, right? I'm only seeing the bodily comforts, but I'm not thinking anything about the on the soul platform. So we have to make a practice, at least keep some time for spiritual life, right? So sorry. सहस्रयुग पर्यन्तम् अहर्यद् ब्रह्मणो विदुः रात्रिं युग सहस्रान्तं तेहो रात्रविदो जना अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्त व्यक्तयः सर्व प्रभवन्ति अहरागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैव वाव्यक्तसंज्ञके भूतग्रामस एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्याहर आगमे. I read all the shlokas. Now you can read the translation. Yeah, please read the translation.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together is the duration of Brahma's one day. Any such also is the duration of his night. When Brahma's day is manifest, the multitude of living entities come into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. Again and again the day comes, and this host of beings is active, and again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved.
Yeah. So when Brahma's day come, we all manifest. And then when it annihilate, at the end of Brahma day, we all again annihilate. And it is said that all the souls, they go into the stomach of the Garbhodaka Vishnu, right? So we all will be there in a like a slumber stage. And until when the next creation happen, the next day of Brahma, when Brahma creates, we all again start our lives as it is from the karma where we have stopped. From again the same karma it starts, so there is no end, it keeps on happening. So that's what is explained here. Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is the supreme and is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remain as it is. So the three from overall creation, Krishna's creation, 3/4 part is that is maximum part, 3/4 part is the spiritual world, and that part never get annihilated. So Krishna is telling this is a transcendental world and it remains as it is. When everything gets annihilated, all the material creation get annihilated, but nothing happens in his spiritual kingdom because it is eternal. And and also there is no time factor there. Here we have time, right? The past, present, future, but there is no time. There is no time factor in spiritual world. Time is also eternal. Everything is eternal there. परस्तस्माक्तु भावोऽन्यो व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनाः यस्सा सर्वेषु भूतेषु नाश्यस्तु न विनश्यति. Yes.
Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
Okay, this is the same shloka that we saw, right? Yeah. अव्यक्तो अक्षर इति युक्तस्तत्ताहुं परमं गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. Yeah.
That which the Vedis described as Vedantist described as unmanifested and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
Yeah. So Krishna's abode, if one like it is unmanifest and infallible. So it is actually, there are two kind of people. I think this will come later also. So in chapter 15, where Krishna explains detailedly about the spiritual world in chapter 15. So here Krishna is telling it is called an infallible, like they don't fall. So basically here in we are called Akshara and two types of beings, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara means one who fall down, right? We make mistakes. We can fall down. We are in three modes of material nature. So we fall down. But they are in the people, the beings in spiritual world are also called as Akshara. They are infallible. So and also his spiritual destination is called as Akshara. So when who attains there will never return. So this is a Goloka. I'll just open the chart. 1 second. So I'll just let me complete the another 4 slides are there. After that, I'll go to the Goloka chart. So this is a prayer by Raja Kurashikara. So I mean, at young age, he was praying to Krishna. Krishna tvadiya padapankaja panjarantam atyaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsa pranaprayana samaye kafavata pitte kanta varodhana smaranam kutaste. Read the translation, please.
O Krishna, please allow my mind to immediately yield to your lotus flower-like feet, just as a flamingo enters into the labyrinth of the lotus flower streams. When the moment of my last breath, my throat becomes constructed by the action of the bodily humors, air, belly, and the lingam. How will I be able to remember you?
Yeah. So this is a prayer of King Kurashikara. So this is a favorite prayer of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. So he is praying that please take my life, like take my soul back to you when I am young, because when I am old, I will not be able to take your name because when we are old, we have so many. I mean, we don't know what condition we are. We may not be able to speak, or if I mean, so the condition is not good. So he's saying that my throat may not become restricted, right? I could not take your name. So take my life now when everything is well. And so that because I'm remembering now. So he's comparing this to like the swan is always attached. I mean, it's near the lotus stem. So similarly, I want to be at your lotus feet. So this is his beautiful prayer. There are many shlokas. This is one of them. Purushassa parah partha bhaktya labhyasta fa anyaya yasyantastani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abundant, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him.
Yeah. So Krishna only with unalloyed devotion, without only with pure love, right? Pure bhakti, we can get Krishna. Otherwise, we will not be able to understand the Lord. So he is all pervading. Everything is situated in him. So everything, all the universe is in Krishna. So Krishna also says, "Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya." So he is only holding, right? In yesterday's chapter, in the chapter 7, we saw how like the thread is holding the pearls, right? Krishna is holding everything in its place. So everything is situated within Krishna. So are you convinced whether this world is Dukkalaya or Sukhalaya? So this is for you to think about. Okay, I'm not asking you now. Vedeshu yagneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam.
Person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere activities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. At the end, he reaches the supreme abundance.
So even if somebody is not well versed in Vedas, so because we may think like, okay, I cannot read the Vedas, then what? I cannot do the sacrifice or austerity. So then is it possible for me to go to Lord? Yes, Krishna says it is possible. If somebody is pure with pure devotion, see Krishna is saying here, who accepts the path of devotion, he is not bereft of results derived from studying. So whatever the results that the yogis and jnanis they get from doing the austerity by studying Vedas, everything, all that benefit will come to the person who is taking the devotional service, not required for doing all these difficulties. So Krishna is telling it's easy way to take the devotional path. So you are not bereft of those results. So we do not think, okay, I don't have time to read, I have not done, or am I losing because that other people are reading so much on Vedas, they are progressing. No, Krishna is telling it is just enough. Only devotional service, if you do, you get everything and you can come back to me, right? So this is so important. Just we have to make it a habit that every day, at least you hear about Prabhupada, you get lecture, you can go to YouTube, you search Prabhupada lectures, you hear every day you hear 15 minutes at least, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So really it will be a good start for you. And also it is because he is a realized person, right? Self-realized person. So we get so much to learn from Prabhupada. So you can hear that and read Prabhupada books and Bhagavad Gita. So that's how we can be thinking about the Lord and meditate on Lord. And also don't forget to chant, right? So it's a chapter summary. After this, I'll show you the Goloka chart. Don't leave. So 8 questions by Arjuna answered. Kim Brahma, remembering Krishna at the time of death, Tasmat serves Kaleshu, Sarvesu Kaleshu it is. So that is how to remember Krishna, by remembering all the time, all my life. Remembering Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti, Om Iti Ekakshanam Brahma. So actually this is, I think we have not much covered about this. Basically this is meditating upon the this Ashtanga Yoga what we saw. So that is basically, it will take a long time to understand Krishna, to go to Krishna. So that is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Remembering Krishna by pure Bhakti, Dukkalayam Ashashvatam. Material world was spiritual world, Parat Tasmatu Bhavanyu. Supremacy of pure Bhakti in attaining Krishna. Atyeti Tat Sarvamidam Viditva. Okay, now I'll open the Goloka chart. Okay, so this is a Goloka chart. Okay, so here we can see yeah. So here there are, oh, I am not able to enlarge this. Yeah. Okay, here you can see we are here. These are the 14 planetary system, okay, which is coming, like this is Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. So actually the expansions are from Krishna. This is given in Bhagavatam. From Krishna comes Balram, right? And from Balram comes the Sankarshan. And from Sankarshan comes Narayana. And from Narayana comes the second Sankarshan. From second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu comes Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, and then from Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu comes Shirodaka Shai Vishnu. So this is the second Vishnu, who is Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. Okay, so the Mahavishnu creates n number of universe. You can see here, right? This is Mahavishnu, who is also called as Karnodaka Shai Vishnu, who creates from his breathing and breathe out n number of universe. And also in Brahma Samhita it is said, from his pores of his hair, the innumerable universes come out, right? So these are like, it looks like an egg, golden egg. And then from Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, what he does, he goes inside these universes and create the required arrangement for a living being to exist, right? He create the paraphernalia, required paraphernalia. And also here we can see he creates from his navel stem comes the Lord Brahma, and Brahma creates these 14 planets. So these are the top planets. We are in the middle, the Bhur, that is Earth. So top planets we have Bhuvar, Swar, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And below also we have Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, like this. So we see that Lakshmi is serving the feet of the Lord. And if we go up, right? So we have here Brahma Jyoti, you can see the people, the yogis who meditate on the light form of the God, that is Krishna's, the 3 stage in that Brahma, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, right? 3 stage of understanding Lord. So in that first realization, Brahman, so they meditate and they come here. That is not, this is actually Brahma Jyoti is nothing but the light which comes out of Lord's body. It is the effulgence that come from his body. So that light, so there is no service actually, but they stay there for some time and then again they feel they get bored, no service, they come back to the material world and they take birth, and then they start doing all the philanthropic works. So this is that Brahma Jyoti. And below this, so Shivaloka is half in material world and half it is in spiritual world. So that is why he is this is Shambhu. And when Mahavishnu, that Mahavishnu, he expands to, he what to say? He glances over Rama Devi, and Rama Devi expands to Maya, right? Durga, and Mahavishnu also expands to Shambhu. So Shambhu and Maya, that is Parvati, right? They together, they create this material world. So Mahavishnu does not interfere for material world. So that's how this creation happened. And then here we have Vaikunta. So this is material world. And then here we have Vaikunta. So Vaikunta, here you can see the here the Lord Narayana stays. Okay, actually in Goloka we have 5 rasas. With 5 rasas we have relationship with Lord. So one is Shantarasa, Dasya rasa, Shantarasa, Dasya rasa, and Vatsalya rasa. Sorry, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhuri rasa. So in here in only Dasya rasa is there in. So because we see God as Lord as in position of Lord, right, as God. So in Vaikunta we cannot have that sweet relationship that we have in Krishna. So that is possible only in Goloka. That is, so here Vaikunta, above that there is Ayodhya. So these planets eternally exist, and here it is the Goloka. So here Goloka we can see, if Krishna and Radha is there, and then Ashtasakhi. Okay, Lalita, Vishaka, Suchira, like you can see here, Induleka, and these are all 8 Sakhis. And then we have here, we can see in the pictures, there are different pastimes happening. It is eternal, it keeps happening here. So where Krishna expands in 1,000 expansions, like if somebody wants to have Krishna like a kid or baby, want to have that kind of relationship, it is not like one Krishna for everyone. Krishna will expand himself to so many, with everyone he will have, personally he will have, like every one of us, Krishna has a personal relationship. So here we can see the Vedas, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda, and Yajur Veda. And also the Sankarshana expansions, it is Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, and Sankarshana. So this is the Goloka. And also one more thing I wanted to show you. So in the material world, how can we go to spiritual world? We can see here the connection. This Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you can see. This is only possible from here in Earth. Okay. So Hare Krishna, right? If we say this, it takes us directly to the Goloka. See, we can see this connection. Actually, this mantra is not a normal one. It is a transcendental mantra. It does not belong to this material world, because it is just like when we take that name, you can tell like a telephone number of Krishna. So when you call, it is like we are calling Krishna when you are taking the Hare Krishna mantra. So it is that powerful. So this chart is also available, a very big chart. This is available also for sale with us. So if anybody interested, you can buy. Very nice laminated copy you get. Okay. So this is okay. So any questions on today's chapter? Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay,
Hare
what
Krishna
should we,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So how can we remember Lord at the time of death? Anyone can answer?
By constant practice of Hare Krishna mantra and by constant remember of Krishna.
Very nice. Okay, good. So please start chanting if you have not started. Any other questions?
Mataji, I have a question. Why Hare Krishna mantra should be practiced daily with only 188 counts? Like, why the one round should be only of 108?
That is given by our Acharya, right? Acharya is given, so we are following it. So he has not told like any reason for that, but it is given like, as a standard. And also there is many a times 108 is a significant, no? Many places the 108 it is used. But we follow because Acharya has given us.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, we can close. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वंदे की जय। नामाचार्य दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you everyone. So see
Hare
you
Krishna
tomorrow.
Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.